scattered in mercy gathered, mended and whole, empty-handed but not forsaken. I've been set free. I've been set free. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Ooh, I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see it now. Oh, I can see the love in your eyes, laying yourself down, raising up the broken to You take out failure, you take out weakness, you set your treasure in jars of clay. So take this heart, Lord, I'll be your vessel, the world to see your life in me. Oh, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Ooh, I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see it now. Oh, I can see the love in your eyes, laying yourself down, raising up the broken to life.
Soon Emma started dating the guy, even though her mom didn't like the guy. Because he was cute, attractive, Emma took
No hard to see.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Reverend
Good
Barry.
afternoon. Good
Afternoon, ladies, and if we have any gentlemen. I see our diocesan president, Reverend Bihari, our guest presenter, members of the Mothers Union Executive, my sisters of the Mothers Union, and if there are any brothers, other sisters that are joining us this afternoon. Pleasant afternoon to you. At this time, I will ask Reverend Opal to ask God's blessing on this forum.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am. I don't know if the others hearing you.
Yes, we are Yes, hearing you. We are.
Okay. The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Let us pray. With a grateful heart, we give you thanks. With a grateful heart, we give thanks to the Holy One, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So today, Father, as we celebrated Trinity Sunday, keep us steadfast in faith and worship, and be mindful of your eternal glory. Likewise, Father, we bring this afternoon presentation on living victoriously in times of crisis before you. And we ask your blessings on our presenter, Mrs. Rosetta James Simmet. Continue to grant her wisdom, knowledge, understanding. As she presents, Lord, help us to absorb the material so that we too can live victoriously, especially during this pandemic. And Lord, not only to keep the information to ourselves, but to share it with others. So, Father God, continue to bless the work and members of the Mothers Union throughout this diocese, our diocesan president, and especially those in the deaneries of St. James, Hanover, and Trelawney in collaboration with the Deanery of Westmoreland. Continue to unite us as one. Continue to bless us individually and collectively. Bless each and every one of us who are participating in this virtual meeting this afternoon. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Reverend Opal. And at this time, it is my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to everyone on this virtual platform, Zoom and YouTube to be exact. On behalf of the Deanery of St. James, Hanover, Trelawney, in association with the Westmoreland Deanery, the topic, living victoriously in times of crisis, was chosen because we realize that the effect of the coronavirus has become a crisis. We reached out to our presenter, who willingly accepted the invitation. I would like to welcome you all and hope that we will leave with something that will assist us personally and as we offer service to the wider community. Let us be aware that Miss Corona will be with us for a long time. The questions we have should be channeled or placed in the chat, and our host, Mrs. Reed, will relay them to the presenter. So a warm welcome to you all. At this time, I will present to you our guest. This lady is a proud child of God. She's a wife to a loving husband and the mother of 2 children, teenagers. She has worked as a teacher and guidance counselor at Bethel Primary and Junior High School, guidance counselor at Catherine Hall Primary, and Associate Regional Dean for the Falmouth and Brownstone campuses of the International University of the Caribbean. She is now an associate counseling and consulting psychologist serving in the capacity as guidance counselor at the Sam Sharp Teachers College. She's an active member of the Jamaica Teachers Association and has served in different capacities. She has also served at different levels in the Jamaica Association of Guidance Counselors in Education, to include National President 2003, 2004, and 2018. She believes in allowing God to lead and guide her quest to achieve her full potential. It is her desire to help as many other persons as she can to do the same. Her desire is to help others to realize that we are all created by God for greatness. So we all created by God for greatness. So we need to live a life that demonstrates how great we all are. We are created by God for greatness. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present this afternoon facilitator, Mrs. Rosetta James Smith.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Brown. I want to greet you and all the members of on this platform this afternoon. Greetings to Reverend Behari and any other pastors that may be in our midst, our host, Mrs. Reed, and all the members of the Mothers Union, whether male or female, this evening, all those who have joined. Special greetings to you all. Today, our presentation, Living Victoriously in Times of Crisis. That's a decision that we make to live victoriously in times of crisis. And I'm really happy because that theme was chosen, because it is something that we can all aspire to. It is something that is achievable and it is attainable. And so it is something that we can look forward to, living victoriously in times of crisis. Now, I want to take you back to some times long ago. In fact, I want to take you back to 1988. In 1988, we had some challenges, and I want us to listen to this song to remember the challenge we had in 1988.
Well, at this time, the eye of Hurricane Gilbert is still inland.
I want to say a special thanks to all the countries that give support to Jamaica, and we're going to show them that we're going to build back Jamaica together. Come! Starting all over again, it's going to be rough, so rough, but we're going to make it. Starting all over again, it's going to be tough, so tough, but we're going to make it. Hear this, come and say Hurricane Gilbert mash up Jamaica. Want every government come together, join hands and build back Jamaica. Call out the police and call out the soldier, call out the nurses and the doctor. Water commission, hurry up and give away water. Public service, light up Jamaica. Put it in the star, the record and the cleaner. You know you gotta make way. wheels turn again. Put your hands together, you may need a friend. Starting all over again, it's gonna be rough.
No, Hurricane Gilbert was a traumatic period. And I'm sure just hearing that little part of the song brought back a lot of memories to some persons. And persons start to remember what they were doing during Hurricane Gilbert. Some persons were abroad and hearing the stories. Some persons had to be making sure their house was secure. Some persons had to be doing various things a lot. And we know that all of these things, just like with COVID-19, persons didn't take it seriously at first. When persons heard the warnings and everything, persons just said, oh, another hurricane warning. But when Gilbert hit, it was a totally different story. Just like COVID, even when we heard that there was one case, people were still like lightly, like taking it light, like, oh, soon gone. We soon treat that. When even 10, it was still light. But just each time seeing the seriousness of this and that this thing is just not going away, the trauma of it, it was unexpected. It was a stress on the country. Schools had to close. People could not go to work. Sounds familiar? Food was short. No electricity. It, as the donkey here saying, I think it's stress. It was a stressful period. But I brought back Gilbert to show that some people know if you don't really hear a reminder like this, you don't even remember Gilbert. That is how much we have surpassed and we have overcome. And now it's just a distant memory. And this too will pass. This too is something that we are going to be moving from. And the whole purpose, and I'm sure you can also remember how you made it, how whatever you did to be resilient in the spirit in the time of Gilbert, in the different hurricanes, in the different challenges that you have overcome, that you have been resilient. Now I want to use Erik Erikson's psychosocial stages to do this presentation, and there are 8 stages: trust versus mistrust, autonomy versus doubt and shame, initiative versus guilt, industry versus inferiority, identity versus role confusion, intimacy versus isolation, generativity versus stagnation, and integrity versus despair. Right now, so we'll start with trust versus mistrust, and we know the whole thing. When we trust somebody or we don't trust them, that's his first stage. We will not be using his ages that much because we'll be applying it to our situation. So the whole question, should I take the vaccine? That's a question on everybody's mind. Some persons have taken it, and they're hoping and they're watching themselves to see if all will be well. Is it safe? We are hearing all these stories. Is the information from the government accurate? Are the accounts, the feedback from even the COVID cases? Some persons are even doubting that and saying that, boy, not everything is being reported properly. And so who do I trust? Will this mask really protect me? Will the vaccine protect me? Will I catch? Big question, COVID-19. There are some persons who can't catch it and there can't be any trace. They don't know where, when. So the whole, who do I trust? But guess what? When you decide to trust something, it comes with power. You're informed, right? When you're informed, it makes a difference because you know what you need to do when you have the right information. And one thing we know is that we can trust God and we can ask him to guide us. We can ask him to help us to make the right decision. I remember being at a hotel, and trust is so important because I saw the sliding doors and I was hurrying to get outside, but it was an automatic sliding door. And I mean, I was running towards the door and the thought just came to me, this is faith. This is some strong trust, because at the speed I was running to catch whoever I needed to catch before they drove off, if that door didn't open, that would have been a serious accident. But I wasn't hesitating because I was sure that the door was going to open. And that's the type of trust we need to have in God, even in times like this. He says, trust in him. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. We just have to take that leap of faith and just trust God. Because guess what? Worrying is not going to help us in any way. It's not going to help. So it makes sense. We just say, God, I trust you. And I'm going to acknowledge you in my ways. I'm going to spend time reading your word. I'm going to spend time with you instead of worrying, because I know you will direct my path. Now, autonomy versus doubt and shame, the freedom to do what you want to do. So the question is, can I do this myself? Or will I have to rely on the help of others? A lot of persons have to be relying on the help of others because they're not able to go to certain places for themselves or do things for themselves. You know, will I get the help? Can I keep up with joining church online? Some persons are so frustrated with this online church and you don't get the same feel as when you're physically with persons. Can I manage all this technology? I know some persons are using Zoom this period for the first time, going on certain social media that you just decided you wouldn't have bothered to learn about. But this period has forced us to use it. And it's not a matter of doubt and shame. Because yes, we will make mistakes. I have done presentations and somebody calls me afterwards and say, you know, you could have done this differently. And I use the opportunity to say yes. And the next presentation is better because of it. I see it, and we encourage persons to see it as a new adventure. It's an opportunity to learn new things and to train others with the things that you learn. Guess what? It's time to experiment. So some of us have some phones that have some areas that we have never explored. It's time to practice and see what can we do with this? Let me check out this aspect. Can I set up this account for myself? You know, ask for help if you need it. There are some things that, yes, you're going to need help with, but it's time to learn. And if at first, we know that old adage, if at first you don't succeed, try again, right? You see somebody, he is trying his own thing.
Hello, Mama? Yeah. Happy Easter, Mama. Yeah. Mama, something I want to ask you. Yeah, because my friend said me pick up on the laptop and wire some money to him. Yeah, you know how to do it? Yeah, me depend on the laptop, yeah? Me not really understand much about the laptop business. Yeah, so me get the wire now, and me screw it up, and me plug it into the laptop. So how the money go to the system now?
So right away,
So what kind of foolishness? But I no foolishness, man.
right away we are seeing his experiment. He's tying up the money in the wire, trying to reach for it to get wired. Now, initiative versus guilt. Do we try, or do we sit down and say, boy, I never did this, or I can't do this, or I can't do this. I'm stuck at home and I can't help. Do we try? This is an opportunity to help others. So the question is, how can I stay at home and help others? Can I help someone who is struggling with cooking? There are some persons who are very good with some dishes. And with being online, it gives you the opportunity to stay at your house and do a video call and teach somebody. You could help a housewife or somebody who just got married to become an expert chef just with your talents. Different persons. Is there a CXC or a tertiary student that you can help to study? And it doesn't take much effort, because if they are explaining the information to you, it is helping them to study. So can you imagine if you say, listen, all right, explain that topic to me, and they're teaching you the topic right away. It helps them to become experts in the topic, and you would have been helping them, right? Can you send an encouraging word to someone, even on WhatsApp? There are times when somebody's just there and at their last moment and they run through your mind. It's not for just mind's sake. We need to make use of that and say, how are you doing? Some persons don't even know that somebody's caring about them. So sometimes we find ourselves too busy, but this period gives us the time to settle down, check on people, encourage people, you know, right? See how things are going with some persons. So the question is, am I going to sit at home and say I'm stuck at home, I cannot help? We have a choice. We can do better. It's teamwork. We're bringing back the whole community thing. Teamwork makes this COVID more easier to handle. So we have to work as a team. The next stage, industry versus inferiority. And the question is, can I do it? Or am I going to feel bad? Am I going to put myself down and say it doesn't make sense? I try, right? If someone has a good idea, all right. You know, I like to give acknowledgement to persons. So I say to somebody that, listen, I like that. Can I use it? Right? Because if somebody is using something, share it, publicize, and say, guess what? And that, Miss Tomlinson Brown taught me this, or somebody taught me that. Show the person that, yes, you're spreading, and give credit, right? Everybody has their own talents. So get somebody with the expertise and ask them to teach you. So there is no excuse for us not to be able to do things with this online thing, because somebody in Germany can teach you something simple. It's just a touch of a button away to have communication, right? Use your positive self-talk if you start to feel less than. If you start to feel down, if you start to feel depressed, start telling yourself, listen, man, I can do this. Listen, man, this saying says, no matter how bad it looks or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. And this was said by Les Brown. Les Brown is the one who came up with this. And sometimes we have to say some things in some different ways for people to understand. So in Patois, it would be, no matter how hard it look or how hard it get, me go make it. Or we say it in the tourist style, because the gates are now open. So we say, no matter how hard it looks or how hard it gets, I'm gonna make it. Or there's some persons who, if pastor doesn't say it, they're not gonna hear it. And so it might be a situation where we say, no matter how hard it looks, no matter how bad it looks or how bad it gets, I am gonna make it. You are going to make it. We are all going to make it. And sometimes you have to just touch yourself and be calm and say, no matter how hard it looks or how hard it gets, I am going to make it. Remember, the Bible says I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So let him be your guide in what he wants you to do, and do it. And remember that this strength is not yours. So you might feel like, boy, I can't manage this, but remember, it's not your strength. So stop fooling yourself. It's not your strength, and you have unlimited resource with God. So there is no reason to hold back. There is no reason to doubt, because guess what? I can do it. And if he provides persons around to help us in the different ways. Identity versus role confusion, another stage. And the question sometimes we ask ourselves, what role do I play? What is my purpose? Some of us, it might be mother, wife, church member, employee, or retiree. And there's so much more. And we're wondering which ones come first. How do I balance? How do I do this, right? I might be a grandmother, grandchildren calling on me, asking for parents who want me to help with this, my help with that, because of the corona and online school and all of that. Where do I balance? Where do I find time for myself, right? And it's just important to just pace yourself and know how to balance your time. Step by step, decide what I need to put first and what I need to put second, and how I balance it all, and which role is priority now. Because at this point, the wife role might be more important. There's another time where I need to be grandma, full and secure. Another time I need to be my church member because the persons at church need me. So we play our different roles, and we just allow ourselves to be paced, just pace ourselves, right? Balancing the time. And sometimes the question is, am I still needed? And it's up to you. That question is right back at you, because you decide if you're still needed. Eleanor Roosevelt says, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So don't give consent for anybody to allow you to feel inferior. And don't give yourself consent to feel inferior. Put yourself out there. Age is not an excuse not to put yourself out there. Great things are achieved by great people, and great people doesn't come with an age limit. Life is 10% of what happens, according to Charles Swindoll, and 90% of how you react to it. 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. So the same situation with one person will cause a different reaction with somebody else, the same situation you face. So how are you going to react to this? So this situation, yes, it's coming and it sometimes feels like it's not coming to an end, but what am I going to do about it? How am I going to react to it? There are different situations. We need to decide. Intimacy versus isolation, another stage in the psychosocial stages for Erik Erikson. Isolation comes with COVID-19, yes. But how do we deal with it? Because we need contact. We need relationships. That's a part. The song says, no man is an island, no man stands alone. But there are ways we can find to socialize. The other night I saw my church, the ladies at church do an online bingo, right? And it was so exciting. They arranged for delivery of the cards, and then they were there and different persons calling B and whatever, different ways. And there are a lot of different, sometimes you can have a linked music session because a lot of persons like to listen to music. Why not set up the Zoom and listen to music together, you know, and enjoy it together, and persons making suggestions of which song they want next. There are a lot of different things that you can do together. Sometimes it's just to put things together. You have Google Meet, you have Skype, you have Zoom, just to put it together and to just, even for small groups, you have WhatsApp, call, and just communicate. Just like how when church finished, you would have been outside and everybody talking and talking. You can do that right from your home. So there is no reason to face isolation because you have options, right? Link with your friends. Sometimes too, you have to just take a break from all that you're doing at home and just go talk to somebody, because sometimes some person's so busy, they're fixing this. Even when you look at it, it is extremely neat. When they look at it, they see something, they have to change up the set, put the books in a different order. The books, there's a book that is out of place or something. Sometimes you need to just stop and go relax, just call somebody and chat. You know, and some persons might not have friends like that. It doesn't have to be. It's not, and I don't encourage gossip. Sometimes you can talk about some things that are happening, general things that are happening in society. You can just call and talk to somebody. Or you can call, as I said before, and ask somebody, how are you doing? How are things? So how is your family? Just checking up. Because that means a lot to people, because a lot of people believe that nobody cares. And you can take virtual trips, right? I had a meeting about a month ago, and we were taking a virtual trip through Canada, different places in Canada. We were going, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Or if you have somebody who can take in a private ride, then you can drive somewhere that you can be safe, right? Not anywhere where you're going to mix with crowds, because we're not going to put ourselves in danger. But you take that trip and just be where you can be safe, where you can just relax. Sometimes it's just somewhere where you have nature, beautiful scenery to look at, and you go right back to your safe place. But sometimes we need to just take a break from everything at home, the cleaning, the cooking, everything, and just be with ourselves, you know, because intimacy starts with you. Intimacy starts with me. Guess what? Being alone does not have to be lonely. And so some persons are afraid of being alone, but guess what? It's different. Loneliness and being alone are two different things. You have to love yourself and you have to enjoy your company. Guess what? You have amazing things about you. You have to first believe in yourself and believe you have what it takes. So when the self-defeating thoughts come, we have to throw them out. We have to know that, listen, I'm not alone because nobody wants to be around me. I'm alone by choice. I'm alone because guess what? You're alone by choice, because you could have taken all the children up country and come put them down your house. And then you have all the headache with this one, quarreling and this one. So enjoy your time. The choice you made to be there, right? Right now, I can tell you, if you think that you're home alone and you need company, we can give you a whole list of students who need places to stay, right? So it's a choice. And guess what? It's an amazing choice sometimes, because you don't have anybody asking you. Right now, earlier today, I wanted to use the bathroom, and my father was in one bathroom and my son in one, and I'm knocking the door and my son is in there like over an hour, and I'm saying, I need to build a bathroom for you. And I was thinking of the fact that when I could just go and just enjoy it by myself. You can imagine, You can imagine? It is something special. So sometimes the thoughts that come and say, boy, I'm alone, nobody wants to be around me. And so we have to change it. We have to change it around, change the thought process. Because guess what? You have to be your best self. Enjoy it. Sometimes you get to try some new dishes and nobody to say, oh, that not taste good, and can you taste it? And you can decide if you want to call somebody to come pick up something, or it don't taste how you want, you just throw it out. Guess what? It's yours. Nobody can beat you for it. Nobody can quarrel. Learn something new on YouTube, right? YouTube is a teacher right now for nearly every area you want. The only thing you might not get a certificate, but anything you want to learn, you can learn now on social media. This information is there. So if you want secretarial skills, check it out. If you wanted to voice training and you never got to do it before, it's on YouTube. Any area you want to look at, you can find it, right? When I want to try out new dishes, I go to Chef Ricardo on YouTube, you know? I know him so well. I know his style and everything. He might not know me, but we're good friends, you know? And we learn a lot of things together. Start a vegetable garden. A lot of people have flowers. Start something new. Start something you haven't started before. And as we said before, check on other people. And sometimes you just have to have some.
Mr. Picture
Right? So guess what? Next stage, generativity versus stagnation. It's your time to shine. It's your time to shine. Time to show what you're made of. Right? Time to get creative. New styles. These things, creativity turn up like 7 is a new song they have out. Right? No stagnation around here. Stagnation is not for you. This person here decide they are trying.
No.
So whatever it is, you have to just make sure that you keep moving forward. As I said, age is an excuse. If somebody is going to say, oh, look at my age, that's an excuse, man. There's a reason why you're still alive. It's not over yet. There's more for you to do. There are more people to reach. There are more things to accomplish. When this is all over, integrity versus despair, you're going to look back and say, job well done. And that's up to you now. That's up to you now, what decisions you make. Are you going to give in to the feelings of loneliness and say, boy, I can't do it? Or are you going to say, Corona is not going to hold me back? You can look back and say, when everything is over, you say, it did not hold me back. As Julius Caesar said, I came, I saw, and I conquered. This too must pass. It's not a question. It has to pass. Everything has its limit. And so Corona has to go. So you have to focus on your accomplishments, because everything, no matter how simple, you accomplish something. Some persons focus on their failures. If you're looking on your failures, look at what you learned from them. Because the fact that you're here means that the failure did not hold you down. You did not give in to the failure. And failure is something that helps us to move further in life and know a mistake that we're not going to make again. So failures are important. So don't be discouraged by failures. They're a detour. They're not a permanent address. So we don't need to stick with them, right? Remember that you're still alive. So live. Some people die very early, a writer once said, but they get buried years after when the breath leaves their body. You're alive. Don't walk around like the living dead. Live your life, because you have it. You have it. The serenity prayer says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So the things we cannot change, we're stressing ourselves when we try to change them. But there are some things we can change. We can change how we think. We can change what we say, and we can change what we do. We have control over these things. So yes, Corona is still here, that's a fact, but you have a choice. You have a choice. With whatever you do, you have a choice. So guess what? Fear is not of God. He has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So we can't sit down with fear. We have to know that we use our mind and think because we have a sound mind. And if sometime you feel confused, remember this. When you start feeling down, remember this. You have power, you have love, and you have a sound mind. Whatever things are true, whatever things are honorable, just, pure, lovely, of good report, if there is any virtue, or if there is any praise, think about these things. Philippians 4, verse 8. Know what we are focusing our mind on. Focus our mind on the things that matter, not the things that are going to get you down, or your daughter giving trouble, or your son doing this or that. Focus on the positive things so that when they pull to you and call on you, you can say, there is hope. Yes, you are in this situation now, but there is hope. Yes, this is happening now, but there is hope. And we have to start from the way we think. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind, because that's where it starts. There is the story of this donkey in the well, and the donkey fell in the well, and the owner said, boy, it's too expensive to get this donkey out of the well, so I'm just going to bury him. Now imagine this donkey that had his freedom. This donkey would have been able to walk up and down anywhere. This donkey was now stuck. This donkey was stuck and confined, not able to move. And I know some of us feel this way sometimes when we see Sunday, 2 o'clock, and you could have gone out to church for a little evening meeting or something, but it's now curfew. You can't move. You have to be hurrying if you go out on a Saturday to reach home by 6. And you're saying you just feel confined, you just feel stuck. And I guess that is how this donkey must have felt. But somebody didn't tell the donkey that he must stay stuck. Because when they started to bury that donkey, they started to throw garbage and they started to throw dirt. And some of us go through these struggles where a lot of things are coming down on us. Pressures are coming down on us, financial pressures, personal problems, children problems, different situations coming down on us. And we feel like it's just burying us. We feel like it's just too much. But this donkey did something that we need to try. This donkey just shook it off and stepped on it. Each time they came down on it, the donkey just shake it off and step on it. So whatever it was, the donkey just shook it off and stepped on it. And after a while, that donkey ended up right at the top of the well. That donkey was able to step out of the well, right? Now, 2 Corinthians 5 verse 17 reminds us, if any man is in Christ, he's a new creature, new creation. All things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. So there's some things we used to say that we need to change. We used to put some negative things out there, some self-defeating things. We used to say we have to change that. There are some things that we used to think that we have to turn around. And there are some things that we used to do that we need to make a change. All things have become new. It's time for a change. Enjoy life. You can't get out of life alive. So live your life with passion. Full participate in life. Don't watch it going by. And Miles Monroe would say, live full, die empty. Live full. Put everything you have out there. Try that new thing, that thing that you're holding back. Don't let it go to the cemetery with you. Because we don't know when we're going to the cemetery. So we need to act now. Because guess what? You are still alive. I'm still alive. Treat life as a gift. Life is our gift from God. How we live it is our gift to God. Treat yourself the way you deserve to be treated. Take care of yourself. Guess what? Somebody needed to tell you you're a child of a king. Love yourself so you can truly love others. It starts with you. You have to love yourself. Stop being afraid of what could go wrong and start being positive about what could go right. You have to make the effort to live that victorious life because it is possible. It is possible. You have to be the change for you and to encourage others. You have to live the change and you have to make the change. Choose happiness. Let me say that again. Choose happiness. Happiness is a choice, not a result. Some of us are waiting to be happy. We need to choose happiness. Nothing will make you happy until you choose to be happy. Just want to make you know, just acknowledging the rights that they're not mine. I don't have the rights to the videos played. And I want to play another one for you, because guess what? This, we need to put on our Hulk attitude. We need to put on our Hulk attitude. Situations were there, and I look back at David Banner, right? David Banner is the persona before Hulk changes out. And he was there. He just wanted to live his life. He just wanted nobody to bother him. But people used to still come, and then he would just get out. And sometimes when the situations are coming on us, we need to stop just accepting them. We need to stop, sit down. Yes, sometimes we'll cry, but we need to stop crying. Some of us, our pillows too wet. We need to stop, just sit down and cry and sorry for ourselves, and just get out and decide that this is not going to hold me back. This is not going to hold me back. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to step into a new place. This situation is not the end of me. And so, as I play this song, let's put on the Hulk attitude in everything we do.
Yeah. Never let your problems get you down. Stay focused and hold your ground. Because what will kill you should make you stronger. So my problems is like steroids, boy. I get my doses from all kinds of sources, and all of them still can't kill me now. You see, as them sink me under ISO, ride out the storm, them just like a boat. So as the box me down, so I get up. They have to wonder how others get up. And every crack I see, I just see through. And by the help of God, I just get through. I just won't stop. I feel like hope. Move any mountain, I trample any building like hope. Man better than monster. Dismantle any structure, boy. Trample them, trample them, trample them, trample them. Rip up my shot and mash up my Jesus. Step on my problems, then what we gonna do? Trample them, trample them, trample them. Kick out them, kick out my problems, kick out my problems. Trials and testings does come before blessings, but we have to be patient, yeah. Weeping and mourning in the night, but joy in the morning. But we just have to endure. You see, God, the way no night come, so you don't really need to lie down. Them say what goes around comes right back around. I go wait until my time come. So from sun up straight to sunset, you could catch I busting a sweat. I must time out. I feel like hope. Move any mountain, I trample any bit.
Move any mountain and trample any building like Hulk. Right? As the song says.
Building like Hulk.
Trample them, no matter what. Trample them. Step on your problems. Bust out your problems. Just like Hulk. We just have to decide that this is not going to stop us. This is not going to get us down. This is not the end of us. So whatever the situation, we just deal with it and make sure that it doesn't hold us back, right? Nothing is going to stop us from achieving our goal. Nothing. We have too many things. We have too many things that are there to push us forward. And guess what? Even in the time of crisis, it's time to live your victorious life. Even in the time of crisis, we have to make the effort to live our victorious life. It's not the end. It's not the end. Let's make that decision that we are going to move forward in a positive way. And this crisis is not going to hold us back. This crisis is not going to stop us. We are going to move like we are children of a king. Because guess what? That's what we are. Just to remember to trust in the Lord with all our heart and lean not to our own understanding, but in all our ways acknowledge him, and he will direct our path. Proverbs 3, verse 5 to 6. In everything, trust in God. He's not going to fail you. Trust in God. And you might be worrying about everything. It says, lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him. So let's just spend time with him. Let's just read his word. Let's just acknowledge that he is God and he's able, and he shall direct our path. Thank you very much for having me. It was my pleasure being at this session, and I just wish for you all the best as we go through. Because guess what? This crisis is not going to stop us. This crisis is not going to get us down. Right? I'm staying on because we're going to have a period of question and answer. I hand over back to our host.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. The name is Theresa Reed, for those who don't know me. I just want to take a moment to, well, say good afternoon to everyone, but I'd like to specially acknowledge our diocesan president, Mrs. Spencer Jarrett, who I am seeing on the platform at this time. So, Mrs. James Smith, she gave us a mouthful in terms of how we navigate our way through moments of crisis. She brought us back to the time of Hurricane Gilbert. I was but a child at the time, but nonetheless felt the full effects of it. School was out for a little while. We didn't have electricity, so there was no TV to be watched, no radio to listen to, and everything was just devastated. But guess what? We bounced back. And then we've been through a number of hurricanes and stuff like that. But I think in our lifetime here, all of us on this platform, as well as on the YouTube page, I think that this is the biggest thing to have hit us, because it has impacted the entire world, right? And I think it has affected us significantly in various ways. It has affected our financial life. Some of us have lost jobs. Thank God for Mrs. Smith and myself, and those of us who are still in the labor force, we were able to keep our jobs. But there are many who have lost their jobs, not just in Jamaica, but across the world. And so we have to do what we can as a nation and as a world to help each other. It has not just affected our work life, but even at home, we talk about instances where the home is supposed to be a safe place. However, what you have found is that a lot of people who would use work or school as that place to escape, now they are stuck at home, and a lot of our homes are places of abuse, not just abuse of children, but also abuse of our spouses, significant others, etc. And so we have those things to contend with as well. Our financial life, our psychosocial, just the very fact that when we're under curfew hours, just to know that we're not able to go through our gate at will, that alone can have such a negative impact on us. And I think we're in a way suffering in different ways. But as Mrs. Smith has said, we cannot allow it to keep us down. You cannot allow it to keep us down. And so we have to find different ways in which we overcome. And I think Mrs. Smith has so ably brought us through some of the ways. We are a resilient people. We are able to bounce back. And, learning a new skill, as Mrs. Smith has said. I won't go over everything that she has said, but gardening, helping others so that we shift the focus from ourselves and our problems and help others to overcome. And in so doing, we are also able to overcome, right? Because we're not so bogged down by the problems that we might have, but we get some kind of gratification from helping others. But more importantly, Mrs. Smith pointed out that we should lean on God and trust Him in all things. So, very good presentation, Mrs. Smith. I suppose that there are persons on the platform, whether it is on the YouTube page or right here in the Zoom meeting, who may want to say something at this time, whether it is to ask a question or to just engage you in conversation. Mrs. Spencer Jarrett is saying very profound and sound advice for these time. Galaxy A10, I don't have a correct name. Pleasure sharing, great presentation. Sister Melvern Stewart, thank you. Very encouraging to keep positive and choose to live and reach out to others. Mrs. Smith did emphasize that. Miss Vassal, Jackie Vassal, very encouraging words. Yvonne Reed, God be praised. Thank you for the opportunity of participating. Madam Presenter, your enthusiasm as you presented was inspiring, rebuilding our hope and confidence so that we can be of benefit to others. All right, Cynthia Burke on the YouTube page is saying she's happy that she can share in this session. So I am inviting you now as participants, if you wish to ask a question or just give a general comment at this time, you may just go ahead, open your mic and speak. Let us engage our presenter at this time. Don't be shy now. Anyone would like to say anything?
I would say something. It was so good being on this platform. What touched me though is the thought of isolation. Being alone and loneliness are two different aspects of life. I would love you to go over that a little, because you find a lot of elderly persons, the young people are doing their own thing, so they're left alone. I don't know, how do we, in this crisis situation, try to bridge that generation gap and don't let persons feel so alone?
Thank you so much, Sister Melbourne. And Sister Melbourne, right? And that's something that is happening with a lot of persons, this whole isolation. And as I said, it's two different things, being alone and being lonely, because there are some persons whose house is filled with persons and they're still lonely because the persons are not interacting with them. And we find that a lot of persons who are more elderly find themselves in this situation where they're surrounded by persons, but everybody is just busy doing their own thing and they're there. Now, it is for older persons now, sometimes you have to make the effort. And it's not necessarily somebody in your house that you're going to reach out to. Because sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes they're just all up in their situation. But there are other persons out there who need to hear from you. So this is the time where persons have to now look in their phone books, in their contact. And if it is to call somebody to say, dial this number for me, right? So you're not asking them for a conversation or something. You're asking them to dial a number. And WhatsApp gives us the privilege of calling without credit. So we get a chance to be in touch with persons. Last week, I heard from one of my church sisters who I haven't seen in about 3 months. And when she called me, I felt so bad because I was saying, I know she lives alone. I should be the one calling her. But she called me. She's a retired person. And so she doesn't really come out because of her age, but she lives alone. But she was calling me to check up on me because she was concerned the fact that she said she heard that Sam Sharp has reopened and persons are going back. So how am I doing? How am I managing? You know, and I was there talking about me, and I had to keep trying to put in something about her, you know, to ask about her. I had to keep trying to make the effort to say, so how are you doing? You know, because she was just there on and on concerned about me. And I mean, it meant so much to me. It meant so much to me. First of all, that she was at home and she was concerned about my welfare. And just the fact that she took the time to call, and when I looked at the phone, I realized there was a missed call before. It meant so much. So sometimes you might be looking for the attention in your house. It's not always going to be there, but there are other persons that are out there. And a number of you, because when we have people in the church, you find that you are auntie to this person and mommy to this person and somebody. So some of those persons, when you just look back, don't say to yourself, oh, they don't business with me again. They're too busy. You don't know. So when you look back to just give a call, to touch base with somebody, right? Since that, I made sure, because I mean, I felt bad. And I made sure after that, like I let allow a week to pass, and I called to check on her, you know, because this was now my effort. And so every now and then we call each other. And that was her initiative. I can't take any credit for it. She started it, yet she's the one who is home alone. And I should be the one concerned, you know, about her and that. And there are some other persons who just to reach out to somebody, just to share something with somebody. The other day I was looking through and I was sorry because my mother passed last November. And I was looking through my mother's phone because of some information I needed that I know that my mother and her friends would have known. So I was there looking through, you know, and when I called, I called one of her friends and we had a long conversation, just a long conversation. I mean, like going through old times, going over some things, because conversation is something. And sometimes you can make contact with other persons who are in need of this too. So you're helping me, I am helping you. So contact is very important. And getting in touch. Some persons, there's some music that you like. Guess what? If you have the phone, or you can just ask somebody to link you up. There are persons, because the phones now, I don't know if it's because of COVID, but you have some new brands coming out now. I got a phone for my husband about 2 weeks ago for 8,500. And I mean, it's a touch screen. You know, touch screen has all the features. So it's not a Samsung. It doesn't have the fancy things like Samsung, but it can go on YouTube. It can do pictures, right? It can do different things. And that, so we can reach out. You can be the person who you volunteer for the church to contact. So tell them to give you the list and allow you to check on persons who they're not hearing from. Because there are some persons who are part of the church who are not in contact with anybody. They're not coming to church and they are not coming online. And persons who work in the office sometimes are too busy doing other things to be able to just sit down and go through the list and check on them. So ask them to give you 5 persons. This is the time where it's easy to form like a cell group where persons can pray together, where persons can work together. And all of this can be done from home. All of this can be done from home. And you don't need any fancy thing. A WhatsApp call can accommodate, I think, about 6 persons. So imagine if you have 5 persons who you decide that you're going to have devotion in the mornings, and you can link up, and in the evenings you just check to see how everybody's day was. Everybody report, everybody. So that's something to look forward to. That's something to check on, you know, something to do. Sometime even in your house, sometime you can call one of the children, if there are children, there are anybody, for those who have persons around, and call them and say, come show me how that new maths go. And that, let them show you how the new maths go, because guess what? They won't realize. They might be laughing and say, Grandma, you don't understand this. And they say, all right. And you say, what? And you say, what kind of average, what kind of this? I probably chose the wrong subject because I'm not good at maths. But they might be laughing and finding it funny, but they going over it is helping them, and they're not going to realize. So there's a lot of different ways. Instead, because staying alone, as I said, is a choice. It's a choice. Being alone might be something that you have to do, but being lonely is a choice. You have to pull yourself out of that group. See, Sister Stuart saying that prayer groups and devotions very effective. Yes, you have to pull yourself out of the mode, and the mind goes naturally to negative. We have to remember that. So we have that mode. We have to pull ourselves out of it and say, all right. And when you think of the idea, right away the thought's going to come. People not going to be interested. People not going to want to do this, right? I realized that I had a problem, right? And I am one of the persons in my church who they see as outstanding and thing. But I realized that like almost a month passed and I didn't have my devotion. So I reached out in the WhatsApp group and I said, I need some other persons who, and this was the note that I was reaching out to. Are there some persons who are struggling with devotion? Let's start a group. So automatically they think I was going to be there to help them. I needed the help. You understand? But I know that if they are looking to me, I am going to be forced to make sure that I am keeping up with my devotion. And so this pressure was good for me. And I was there with them. And I was surprised we had at least 5 persons right away as I sent out the message that were interested, right? We've had situations where we pair children with adults, and usually I can tell you it's not the child that doesn't keep up with the relationship, it's the adult most of the time. So there are persons out there who want somebody to care, who want this attention. Young people, sometimes even children, you wouldn't realize how they would just want somebody to talk to. Some of them have a lot to say and no one to listen. Because just like you, they're in their own world and everybody is busy. So we have to just reach out and be the one to make the first effort. And if the first effort doesn't work, try the second and the third effort. It's not giving up time, because we are not giving up people. Right? Hope that helped in some way. But as we said, loneliness will come, but we have to fight it. We have to pull ourselves out of that mode. Yes.
Right. Thank you for that, Mrs. Smith. And I must say, in terms for the Mothers Union, not just at Holy Trinity, but at a number of Mothers Unions across the island, there are different programs that are run through the MU. I know certainly at the Mothers Union at Holy Trinity, there used to be there still is, but just on pause now, where we have a coffee morning where the shut-in members come to church, and there's a little social afterwards. We've had to put that on pause because of the COVID pandemic. However, on a smaller scale, what you find is that members of the Mothers Union who are able, they still do little home visits, not in any big way, because you have to limit in terms of how you expose people and stuff like that. But birthdays are acknowledged with a little token, a little visit to the house, and all of that. And so I think that as you have said, we've just changed gears a little bit in terms of how we reach out. So we haven't stopped, but we have just had to shift the gears a little bit so that we don't have individuals out there who feel isolated and alienated and all of that. So that was a very good question coming from Sister Melvern, and how we cope with, or how we help to alleviate the sense of loneliness that some of our members might be feeling at this time. And all of us have to remember to reach out to the other person, because we have to be each other's keeper. All right. Any other question, comment at this time?
I have a comment about fear. A lot of persons are fearful of taking the vaccine and all the information that is on the social media. It really, it's very frightening to some persons and many persons. And I don't know if we could find a way of getting the real facts to those persons, having conversations with persons to know how they're feeling, where they're at in all of this pandemic, and then we see how we can garner resources or good, positive material to give them. I tell you, stress is a big one due to fear. And so I like the positive mindset, how to affirm those sayings, God did not give me a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and a sound mind. But just to say that is not enough. How do we dialogue with persons and listen to their stories, and don't judge them, but be there and affirm their feelings and see how you could get other material to help them to really change their mindset as to the erroneous information that is out there.
And that what you have said is some of the answers right away, to have the conversation with persons, because persons need somebody to hear them. It's not just to dismiss, because fears are real. Fears can cause us to freeze in our actions, and it's not just no. Fear has stopped a lot of persons from starting business. Fear has stopped a lot of persons from achieving their goals. Fear is powerful. And each time we do a positive self-talk, a reminder, it's something that we have to keep doing. But it's important, as you said, to have the conversation with persons and recognize what they are saying. Listen to them. Don't dismiss the fears that they have, because the fact that they're sharing with you means it is real. And so to listen to persons and allow them to talk, allow them to see if there are other persons that might have had those fears. When you get proper, don't send around. When you see some of those jokes about the virus and so, I try not to forward them, because you don't know who is being impacted by it. When we see some of the things that somebody else might just laugh at, but for somebody it might be affecting them in a negative way. So let us be careful what we forward to persons that might increase the fear level, especially about the vaccine, because there are a lot of positive things, and most of those are not forwarded. There's a lot of positive feedback, but you know that positive news doesn't sell, and positive news is not exciting to circulate. So persons who, even as part of the Mothers Union, who have had positive experiences, share it, recommend it and send it out there. Even if it just circulates among the Mothers Union, that's fine. That's fine. It's not going to go viral because it's good news. and good news is not exciting, so people don't hurry to press forward, but we share it with each other, share in words of encouragement, and just allow persons to be able to share, because fear is real and fear can be crippling. So it is important. And there are a lot of steps to deal with fear, but that would have to be another session because we have a whole of things to deal with when fear is real and when fear is crippling, where somebody really cannot function. Then we have to go through some other steps to help them. Sometimes it's desensitization, different things to just help persons to go through and realize. We have this saying that we say fear, false evidence appearing real, right? The whole acronym of fear, to say that because somebody can be in a room right now and just thinking about something, it can cause you to feel afraid because of the fear you have. But then to remember that, look around, that was just a feeling. It was just a feeling. And even though it caused you to feel like you can't move, look where you are, it wasn't real. So just put it, the situations like that where we can help persons to know that, guess what? If we allow fear, it will cripple us, but we have to use our positive self-talk and push. Les Brown says, leap and grow your wings on the way down. So it depends on what you want to do and where you want to go. Sometimes you have to just take a risk. And persons who are in business, I know you know that story. Yes.
Thank you for that. And I just want to point out too, just to kind of respond to that, we have to ensure that when we are passing on information regarding the COVID-19 as well as the vaccine, that we are passing on information from credible sources. I always go back to my librarian life. It has to be credible sources. So you're not just going to take information from any and everywhere. So we look to the various ministries of health across the world, the PAHO, and so on, the WHO, to get the up-to-date and credible information. We have to remember too that COVID-19 is new. It is something that even the experts are still learning as they go along. And so
Can't even hear no.
you're not hearing me?
We're hearing.
Oh, okay. So even the experts are learning as we go along, and so the information itself may change, and we just have to try to keep ourselves up to date with those credible sources. But I do see Christine Davidson. She has her hand up, so if she would like to go at this time.
Hi, thank you, Mrs. Reed. I was in reference to the person talking about the vaccine. One of the simplest arguments that I give some persons is that, look, when you were children, you got polio, you got chicken pox, you got German measles, and that was even more dangerous because it was a live virus that you're getting. And even though some persons ended up with polio, even though they were trying to build up an immunity against it. So I just tell them that you have to trust in the same way as young people. When we were going back to school, we had to make sure that we were vaccinated and take our vaccination card, or else we couldn't go into school. So that's one of the simplest ways that I have assisted some persons who have a fear of taking the vaccine.
And the fact too, though, is that there are some people who are just conspiracy theorists, and you will never be able to convince them. I am certain of that. No matter what it is that you say or do, you're just not going to be able to convince those persons. But each of us as an individual will have to do, and as households and so on, will have to do what is best for our situation. All right, so that's it. Any other question at this time? Comment?
I just want to, before the next person, if there is somebody else, give a special greeting to Mrs. Cynthia Burke, who is watching on YouTube. She is the first person who ever invited me to speak at a Mothers Union session at Holy Trinity.
Okay, okay. Hi, Mrs. Burke. Right, so are there any other questions at this time? And let us bear in mind that these sessions it's one of the ways in which we cope. It's one of the coping mechanisms where we have these conversations. So we are here now. So if you have a question, if you have a comment, don't be afraid. We're all friends here. And we just invite you to open your mic and speak, or you can put it in the chat and we will address them. Right? I'm going to take it by the silence in the space that there are no additional questions at this time. And so I will, oh, yes, Mrs. Spencer Jarrett, you may go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Reed. I was waiting until the end.
Okay.
So I hope I'm at the end, just to commend you for hosting this activity, and especially our Dean President, Mrs. Jasmine Tomlinson Brown, and her team. I want to commend them for keeping the Mothers Union alive in that corner of the world. I was very inspired. I could never be tired of hearing Mrs. Smith. Her presentations have always been, Mrs. Smith, this is I think it's my 4th session with you, and they have always been very creative. As usual, you have been innovative. You always have scripture to back us whatever you're saying and stories. So I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I'm happy that this session was put on today. One of the things I gathered from me, my relatives abroad always, I live alone, if I might say that, because everybody's away, and because of the COVID, and they're always saying, you're not lonely. And I'm saying no. So I love that point. You can be alone, but you are not lonely. And I know that because I can't have time for myself. And those things that you have said, I've been reaching out to others, having a little prayer meetings, helping children. So I just want to again thank you for this session. And I'm happy to see so many of executive members sharing and supporting our colleagues whenever we have these sessions. Last week, we had a very good, I might say, we had a virtual family fun day. And that was just letting down your hair, having fun and dancing and so on. And now this week, we have this powerful presentation. So once again, thank you all. Thank you for doing it. And we look forward to more creative sessions as we try to foster this COVID crisis that we are in at this time, because as you say, it's not going away. Once again, thank you all. Commendations to you.
Thank you. Okay, Mrs. Tomlinson Brown, I hand over to you.
Thank you very much. Mrs. James Smith, your presentation was a mouthful. Mrs. Reed really went through most of it, and we have someone who is going to do the vote of thanks. So I will say nothing more, because if I do that now, I'm going to go into her space. So at this time, I'll ask our sister Christine Davidson to move the vote of thanks.
And Ms. Jasmine, I was just sitting here saying the same thing, because all is left for me to do is just say thanks, Mrs. James Smith, because everybody has been offering their commendations. Everybody is thrilled. For me, it was very unique the way you started off. You had us pumped up, taking us down memory lane. And I find that a lot of us don't really listen to our Jamaican music lyrics. Very powerful. And so I really want to commend you, Mrs. James Smith. I have it right, yes, for this wonderful presentation. You used timely reminders of scriptures as to how we can face trials, depression, and loneliness in times of crisis. And from the comments in the chat and all the commendations, it is evident that your presentation was well received. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts across the entire Montego Bay region, and look forward to another fabulous presentation from you. Mrs. Reed introduced herself. I think most of us know that she's the dear wife of the rural dean for Hanover and St. James. And it was really a pleasure. And thank you so much for being the host and also for the technological assistance. At this time, Westmoreland Deanery and the Montego Bay region is feeling very proud. As I say, thanks to Reverend Opal Behari for inviting God's presence. At the end of this month, she will be ordained priest, and I just want us to congratulate her on this achievement. Thanks, Mrs. Spencer Jarrett, for joining us and the other members of the executive. And as Mrs. James Smith says, we have to be innovative, and surely we're going to be putting on more of these events as the time go by. Once again, Mrs. James Smith, thank you so much. It was very enlightening, very entertaining, and just for us to go out there and live what we have learned. Sister Jasmine, we decided to put this on. I was absent and you ran with it and did most of the work for me. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. So, my sisters, I think we had a very good afternoon. And I must say, there is a brother who is also on the platform. I see a Barrington Gray. We'd like to welcome him as the mayor.
Really? Thank you so much, Sister Jasmine. That's my president. He is the president of the Kiwanis Club of Westmoreland Capital.
Oh, well,
them to join this forum. Thank you so much, DP Barry.
Good evening, DP Christina. It was a wonderful session. I did enjoy it and I learned a few things.
Okay, I'm so glad. Thank you so much for joining.
Okay, I enjoyed it. And thanks again for inviting me.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier, it was so good. Good. We need some other words to describe it. But Mrs. James Smith, we will be in touch with you for sure as we go forward in this pandemic, because as we said earlier, it has nowhere going right now. So at this time, I'll just ask each person to open their mics and we just say the grace as we dismiss.
It's going to be very garbled if we all try.
Yeah, let us all try though.
Yes. The grace of our
Grace
Lord,
of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ,
the love of God,
and
the fellowship of the Holy Spirit
be with us all,
now and
forevermore. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank
you so much for sharing with us. Have a enjoy the rest of the evening, ladies.
Great presentation. Love you. Mrs. Reed, oh, great work. Keep it up. Bless you. Everybody, let us be resilient, okay? And help others to be resilient too as well. The I am statements. Bless you. Love you. Great afternoon. Thanks.
Bye.